So hello everyone, I'm here again my review doing from episode 13 and easily 10 out of 10 for me. I love this episode. It had so much storyline, you know, it really passed up a lot of backstories, some flashbacks, gave us of course Zerotwo, it's a child, a demon child, right? I love the whole Beast Princess, the Beast Princess thing in the book and so on. I did another video about that, about the ending, if you want to talk about the ending specifically, and so on. Like, really good episode. I'm still excited, yeah, it was a very good episode. So first and foremost, I think it was great that just, as I mentioned, there has been a lot of flashbacks, right? You know, every now and then. For example, the Michiro memory thing, Ichigo and the naming thing and so on. And a lot of these things here, most of them were definitely extended in this episode. And you can talk about it. Oh, Ichigo was like, oh, your name is Ichi and go! You're 15, girl! And so on. Yeah, so all of that was extended, right? Explained better. And also, of course, all kinds of that, you know, were named and very likely got killed off, right? They probably died in the experiment. I think that's probably more reasonable. They probably not kill the children. I mean, they kill the children obviously, but they don't probably do it on purpose. They probably give them injection, right? Then they die because they couldn't survive the whatever transformation. So yeah, all the names, they are dead, right? So a lot of that was very good. I think generally awesome. And then the whole story with, of course, Zerotwo and Ichigo is really awesome. So she grew up in this, you know, she's special, right? She is full demon, I guess, class Rose, right? So kind of whatever they are, demon, alien, something, and she has this little weird, very airy, very horror kind of little girl horror thing stuck there. Yeah, it's like, for example, Resident Evil 7 when you find that place. Not spoilers, but it's like kind of a little, you know, girl chamber room and have like little toys and yeah, it's very much like that. It's a very kind of classic, weird, you know, prison for a little girl with some kind of powers there. Of course, she gets punished and so on, and the episode was quite painful to watch. Yeah, I mean, I really like Zerotwo as a character, and I think we all do right, best girl, and it was painful, of course, very painful to watch her getting tortured. There was several, like, you know, more torture scenes than experiments, right? Because they're like, oh, if you kill her, like, if you shoot her head, she can regain her health, and yeah, it's like, oh, we can just cut the finger off, it probably regrows, right? There's a lot of that thing, so quite, yeah, a horrible episode in that sense, but it also, it's pretty much what you expect, right? They have a place called the Garden. I think this is very typical anime, or as I think a lot of, like, especially JRPG games, you find some weird experiment place for children. It's always like, oh, here we mutated children, or here we fed them to, you know, to zombies or something. So what happened? Yeah, it's always that, right? Of course they were torturing her and so on, and finding out what happened to her body. So it's not very surprising. Generally, what happened there. Given that last episode, this would happen. But it was good scenes. I mean, it was good, but kind of painful to watch them. But they were good. Still good. And they're also good because they really make her character make sense in a lot of ways. You know how much she hates the government, right? How much she hates the experiments. And yeah, you probably figure out why she hates being experimented on. Because they were basically mainly just mainly just putting off her stuff and so on. That's why she hates that. So, you know, it all makes sense, right? It all comes together. So it's good in that sense as well. And then, of course, you have this book, right? The Beast and the Prince. I talked about that in my other video shortly there with ending. And basically, this book here, is that it is very much like the mermaid story as in the other video. So there is a demon girl, right? Some kind of, you know, whatever she's, a kind of bird lady there, hawk girl, whatever that. She sees a prince, she falls in love, but she can't approach him because she looks like a demon, ashen wings. You know, sells something, you know, her wings to the witch, or kind of her soul right to the witch. It also means, of course. Yeah, I think definitely so. I didn't mention all the video, but I think that was like, yeah, those wings are also kind of her soul right. So he sells those, gets to the prince, knows the prince is always in blue, right? The prince is always in blue as the hero. He's always blue, she's red, she has red, you know, dress and so on. He's always blue. Then she turns blue later on when they are together. And then she kind of tries to, you know, kill him. She can't control herself. As with Zerotwo, right, always killing her partners. Then she leaves. So I wonder if that could be a thing later on. But yeah, that kind of storyline. And the point, of course, generally is that she was turned into a human, right? Which she decided there. She turned into a human. So I think generally that was a great story. It's very simple, as I say. It's very much the Mermaid. Or they can have Disney stories. But I think it's great because it's just a simplistic story. That it fits perfectly for her kind of bestial child, right? Because you just kind of experimented her. You really, you know, let her lead, you didn't do anything to her on an intelligence scale, you just tortured her. So it makes sense to give her something kind of very basic of a fairy tale, and then she will understand that, right? Yeah, she will understand that, and of course she sees herself as this lady with the wings. And I also think it's sort of Yi and Bird thinking about the feathers or for that matter. But anyway, yes, I think it's a really good written thing there, because as again, that's probably the level of fairy tale she can understand, right? It's very much straightforward here. Ugly duckling, beautiful princess, with the cost, I have to become that, yeah. So really got back to her character and so on. So I think that book thing there was a great addition to the story. Also, generally, it's a good, how would I say, narrative tool that she has like one thing she cares about, that she has the book with her when they're escaping, and so I think that's also a great thing there, because she has not very much in her life she cares about, right? She's in this weird prison that they torture her, and the only thing that she likes in the world is this book, right? So that's why I try to protect it. And of course, that also, which I comment now, that the whole escape thing is really good as well, because as soon as she starts liking Hiro, she's like, yeah, he's nice to me, he gives me candy, and she's like, you wanna read my book? You wanna read my little book? Yes, I think that's a great, cute scene there, because it's really established that she only loves this book, right? The book is her life, she only loves the book, and of course then she accepts Hiro, she's like, here's my book, you wanna read it, darling? So I think that is a very, very good point of the episode, that she, it's a way for her to be like, this is my treasure, to read. It's kind of like perhaps in One Piece, but, especially due to with his straw hat, of course, when it's like, here now, I have my straw hat, you can keep it, but it's your Mugiwara? It's like, yes, and then it moves away, and a bit all up, yes. That kind of sense there is like, only this very special person to me can touch my treasure, yeah. So, I think that was a great thing. But yeah, the escape thing was I think it was great, but it felt really special. Also, what episode is such a good episode, that episode, because it went from this like kind of horror story background, people are tortured and so on, into like really cute. Yeah, the last 5 minutes is really cute. They're running around in the snow, eating rats, and being like, yeah, let's hide here, and they're all like cute together. So very good episode, because we went from that kind of horrible thing to this like super nice, yeah. Very, very different, very shares between those two stories, right? Of course, they do fit together very well, but it's a very interesting episode because it's so different. I really liked it. I think it was very, very excellent. It was so different there. And then the end of the story there, of course. I think that story, though, wasn't bad at all. I think it was very cute. But I will say this thing, though. It's very nitpicky, though. But I think it's pretty much what we expected, right? I would say that. Them being captured, memory wiping and so on. It's pretty much what you expect. Not much to say about that, except one thing, of course, I think is very important, is blood. So, yeah, I think there could be a huge thing that he is drinking her blood there. She scraped her knee, right? Here goes down on her and eats her blood, consumes her blood. She has blue blood, which is a Clazoros, as you see with the Clazoros being in this blood. They're blue kind of, I don't know, they are cyborg, alien, demons, whatever they're supposed to be, right? Yeah, probably human, man-made, back, whatever, yeah. Whatever it's supposed to be. He consumes her blood there, and that might give him some power. I think that could be a huge thing. Why he might be able to survive her, or maybe because she loves him or so on. But that can be a big thing as well, right? Because he's a high number in this parasite bioweapon human thing, and he's consuming their blood there, right? So maybe if you consume enough Clazoros blood or something, they can begin affecting you, and he does this as a child, right? He's still transforming. After that, they can experiment with him more. Give you some more yellow blood and so on, right? That could, of course, affect his body then. Having consumed her blood, then afterwards, given that memory wipe thing as well, or experiments, definitely could trigger something in his body, right? He might get some antibiotics, right? He might get some, yeah. So I think that's a big. I think it's very reasonable to assume that he would maybe gain some kind of like anti whatever against her blood, eating it as a young kid, and as he goes older. That will stay in his body, be dormant, but still be there. And then when she's trying to eat him, he can fight it back because he has like this antibodies or some kind of virus against it. Yeah, so that definitely could be a huge thing there. Eating the blood, I think it could be very, very important. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it was shortly shown there. They didn't mention it, but they felt very, very purposely intended to show us that he's eating her blood there. He's drinking her blood. I think that is like a vampire. Yeah, I think it's I think that for me, I'm gonna guess that's a big reason why he can survive her powers. I think so. So anyway, I hope that this review. I think it was an amazing episode. I think it had everything right: torture, happiness, A lot of good flashback connections back to that thing. Explaining more of the world. Dr. Franxx was really evil. I'm wondering if the lady to care for her could be, you know, the lady that has the house potentially. That's the thing matters so much, but it could be a thing. But yeah, it's a lot of all stuff there. And again, I think the blood is probably why he develops a kind of anti, defense against her bio, right? Her bio weaponry, probably. And also the beast thing was a nice addition. So see you guys next week and have a great day.